Hello, my name is Debbie Lemaster, and I am the art teacher at Hurl Whitaker Middle School in Sayersville, Magoffin County. My ARI grant was written for personally protected art access. A social emotional learning is a major part of education today. We know that not only schools, but students are facing increased issues with bullying, poverty, and intense expectations. As a tool for making meaningful communication, the arts can have a profound impact on the social and emotional health of our students. SEL, we've all heard of SEL, but we're looking at SEL and self-expression. SEL is such a critical component of all classrooms, whether online or in person. Elizabeth Peterson, founder of the Inspired Classroom and the developer of SEAL, which is Social and Emotional Artistic Learning, has published articles and lessons on how we can move from SAIL to SEAL. And CASTLE, the Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning, is a leading expert in integrating SAIL into school curriculum. They have compiled a list of core competencies for students to learn. Those 5 key skills are self-awareness. This is something our students struggle with. It's the ability to identify and assess your own thoughts, your own feelings, and your values, as well as how they intersect with your behaviors. What am I doing? And is this really what I think about situations? Self-management. Oh my goodness, middle school has trouble with self-management. It is the ability not only to identify, but regulate emotions, thoughts, and actions. They need to learn how to set goals. They need to learn how to stay organized, to stay focused, to be patient and realize that I may have this goal, but I can't get it immediately. They need to learn how to make a plan so that they can develop and reach those goals that they are working hard for. Responsible decision making. Getting adults to make responsible decisions is sometimes extremely difficult. With middle school, it's even more. It's the ability to make a positive, constructive choice about their behavior, to realize that what they're doing has consequences, and sometimes it's long-term consequences. They need to learn how to do this. Social awareness. I also have a Spanish minor, so within my art class, I throw in a little bit of Spanish here and there and looking at cultures and getting them to aware of how things look from different points of view. They're not used to that. They're used to looking at things from their point of view only. And so to help them to understand that different points of views are okay. Just because you think differently than I do does not mean that you are wrong or that I am wrong. It's just a different point of view. They need to learn what family is, what school is, what their community resources are and support systems that they can go to when they need help. And relationship skills. The ability to get along and make meaningful connections with people in their life. This is what they struggle with. They struggle with their friendships. They struggle with their families. They struggle communicating. So if we can give them a tool that will help them develop these skills, we're setting them on a path for success. Not only are the previous 5 things a hurdle for these kids to get over, we've now thrown them into the middle of a pandemic. We have COVID that has invaded all of our lives. It's changed the way we look at things. It's changed the way we act. It changes the way that we interact with each other. And our young people not only are struggling with that, but adults are struggling with that. When I retired in 2018 from Johnson Central High School, I took an early retirement. My dad was sick and I needed to stay home with him. Well, last summer of 2020, my dad passed away and I decided that I was going to continue with my teaching career and finish out to retirement. I retired pre-COVID. Now that I've returned to work, I'm in the midst of a pandemic. So things have changed and look totally different for me than what they did when I retired. But one of the things that's helped me a lot is that how our school has address the issues and the safety concerns according to CDC guidelines. Mask and social distancing is mandatory. As we change into the different color zones, those will change as well. But my challenge was not the social distancing, because you can see in the photos here, I have a huge classroom with lots of tables and I can distance my children easily. I put 2 per table. They are wearing their masks. And so their safety as far as distancing is not a concern of mine. Between classes, I wipe down tables, I sanitize things, and prep for the next group. The sanitizing the table and those are not a problem for me. Here you can see my biggest issue is that students are sharing the same supplies. Sometimes certain supplies are easy to sanitize. But as I look at these kids and I look at those colored pencils and I spray down those colored pencils between classes, and I wonder, did I get them all cleaned? The paintbrushes that they share, we wash them out, but I'm not sure how clean they are as they get done, as they handle the paint bottles, as they handle various materials, including the stacks of paper that we share. That puts my students at a high risk for cross-contamination between groups. The regular classes do not rotate. The teachers rotate. So that limits the students carrying viruses and bacteria from one room to another. My room and the other co-curricular classes are the only ones that they change to. So the concern for cleanliness and reducing the risk of transferring the virus is key for my classes. Things I have already done to limit contamination is that in this classroom, I have been afforded a huge amount of storage space. And you can see these drawers here. The white tags are names of students. I have 2 students per drawer, and the drawers are divided in the middle, as you can see in the picture there on the bottom right. They have their personal supplies in there, their own colored pencils, their own scissors, protractors, rulers, projects that they're working on. This is where they store them. And so it's not stacking on top of someone else's. With this grant, I have been able to purchase individual supplies for each student. As this pandemic grows and fluctuates up and down, we're having students that are more and more in quarantine and going virtual and then coming back to class. With having access to personal supplies that is in their own little group, they can take these home with them, continue whatever art projects are assigned while they're home. And when they return back to school, they will bring their stuff back with them and have it there in class and still not have to share any supplies with the rest of the students. One of the things that I wanted to add in with this is journaling. And Elizabeth Peterson, that I referenced earlier, has shown in her research that SEL programs in schools are more likely to produce students that achieve high grades and test scores. They have higher self-esteem, develop positive coping mechanisms, and graduate from high school. And they view teachers and classmates more positively. So what I have done is paired this grant with another grant from the Youth Service Center. This grant is supplying them with the personal supplies of watercolor, color pencils, and some papers and things like that. While the other grant through the Youth Service Center is pairing them with the writing journal or drawing journal. It is a journal that has blank pages in it. I will be providing the students with prompts that will get them thinking about things that maybe happened to them through the day. What was the situation and how could you have handled it better? How do these things make you feel? What are things that make you feel happy? So it provides them with an opportunity to reflect and to grow. And journaling is a proven tool by psychologists and specialists across the country in addressing stress and depression And hopefully, this will provide them with the tool that they can use after they leave my class, because these art supplies will go with them when they do leave my class. So my long-term goal with this grant and the YSC grant is that I will provide students with personal supplies that not only will help protect them from sharing viruses and other bacteria, but will provide them with a tool for coping with stress that they can use throughout their life.